as you can see, she's back. I have had a couple of little drives of it. I'm still kind of getting used to the car. So far, so good. And I don't mean so far so good, I mean so good. Like, the car is changed on so many levels. It does feel like a different car, more modern in some ways, but massively improved. And I did sort of go on this journey, if you like, or the transmission swap, in order to see if I could make this car better by definition. I'm fairly confident that I've achieved that. It's very different. It's still a GTR. It's very different not having the H pattern, but I'm absolutely convinced it is better. So we'll have a little look around inside the car as to what difference it is when you're sat inside. First thing you notice is we've got this little head unit reader thing that we've mounted temporarily on here, and it can go other places, but we've chose to put it here. So that kind of gives you a couple of readouts. I'll just turn him on. So it'll give you telling me it's in park and the handbrake's on. So it's got the switch into the handbrakes, unless you're on the handbrakes on. Also, having the handbrake on fully disengages the transmission, such that when you do release the handbrake, if it's in a drive scenario, if you've got it in reverse or forward and you let go of the handbrake, it does like grabs the clutch pack really quickly, which is great for drift cars. Like if they want to do a handbrake turn, it'll fully disengage the transmission, and then as soon as you let it go, it's fully engaged again. It's a little bit harsh for normal road use, but I think there's adjustments where you can get around that. So there's that. It's telling me that it's in park as opposed to reverse or forward, like forward different gears, it will say. I'll show you that shortly. And this other P3, basically there's different settings for the transmission: full automatic, automatic in sports, your full manual, modified manual, and then as you click through the positions, it does speed up the change, or it makes it change. You can adjust the change point, so it'll change higher or quicker or whatever you want it to do. Basically, you can really tailor make it to suit your application, and you adjust that with this little knob here. I had already got a hole in the dash, in this panel just here previously, from a defunct button. I don't know what it used to do, but it didn't do anything, so it fitted this rather perfectly. So you just turn this, click click click, and that changes this driving mode, as you want to call it. I prefer driving it in 3 and 4 kind of manual. It's like assisted manual, and I really like that position. It suits the thing really well and still makes you feel like you're part of it. Also, as an option, we had paddle shifts on it, up gears and down gears. We've still got to finish that yet, because it's an early thing that they've done for me. It's sort of a trial run on this one. It's working fantastically. They want to improve these. These are a little bit sharp, and these are 3D printed for the arms. It's still a bit under development, and also the fascia that normally clips in here and here, we've got to do something with that yet. Modify them so they're a bit smaller, but they still fit that. And then the most fun part is this thing, this doodly. It's very much like what you'll get with a sequential, and the same sort of action as that, just up and down, but it's a really nice size, and when you're driving it, it's not like a big, loony stick. It's quite nice. It's really, probably, I think the standard one comes to sort of here, so if you're resting your hand on it, it feels a whole lot like a standard shift. I do understand that the spring rates in these, you can alter that spring rate as well to make them like a little bit softer action physically. Won't affect the way the transmission changes, because it's a switch. So click, your transmission, the way that changes and picks up drive, or it is dealt with in the TCU rather than the actual stick, because all that does is, you just making or breaking a switch. So you can adjust that, but even more nice for someone like myself who likes to keep things as stock as you can, it fits within the standard boot. So you could drag out and then this one in, and all you can tell from the inside is this different shifter, and it's still all hidden underneath a standard boot. So other than that, really not much change inside. We'll take it for a really tame run shortly, just so we can get a bit of a feel for it. Okay, just to give you an idea of how it feels to drive this thing, we'll go on a little run. I am very, very wary of never breaking the law with these things, so it'll seem sedate, or if it is noisy, it's because it's in low gear. I will be careful not to break the speed limit, as you know, we don't want to do that. Typical red hot day here in Queensland today, so we'll get him going and put the air conditioning on, and then put the window up, and then you'll be able to hopefully hear what we're talking about. Okay, activate the cold mode. So from a standstill, it's obviously got pickups from the brake line. So I've selected my mode. I'm going to go in P3 for now. So all I do is foot, like a standard automatic, foot on the brake, and then if you want to go backwards, it's kind of a double click that way, engages reverse, back into neutral. So one pull down, and that will put you automatically in second gear. And the ratios in this car are set up so it'll easily manage to pull away in second gear. If you want to click forward again, it gives you first. Don't particularly need it. So we'll take the park brake off first, then we don't get that jarring of the pack, and then we'll just click her into drive. You see that pulls the engine down a little bit, just so it's dragging the transmission drag, and it's ready to go. All I need to do is just release my foot, and the car's away real gently and softly and very well controlled. So from here you can either remove your clutch pedal, or this one's still in just in case, but it just falls to the floor, and then out of the way. So we'll just pull away normally, but because I've got it in the manual mode, it will need me to change up. So I'll just pick a change point off boost, well below 4,000. I just click it, and I don't know if you can, hopefully you can pick some of it up through the GoPro, but it just does a nice smooth change. Like so, and if you want to go down a gear, don't have to press anything. Just hit it, and it'll drop down a gear. Ready to go, and then up a gear. Very controlled, very, very smooth action. So if you forget to change down, which is a feature that I really do like on this transmission, and the way it's set up at the moment, is if I start to slow down, so it picks up a pickup from your brake pedal and then senses that you're slowing down, it will automatically start to downshift for you. It'll drop down through, if you're in 8th gear, it'll just drop down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 until it gets to gear 2, and then it'll just be in gear 2 ready for when you want to pull away again, which is really nice if you're approaching an intersection, trying to look where you're going, trying to think about what you need to pull, indicators, whatever. If you forget to change gear, it doesn't matter, the transmission will just downshift for you and be ready to go again, even in manual. So you can hear it's in manual now. It's wanting me to up change any time, so you can just up change, and at any time on this reader you can see what gear you're in. Without it's not a big glary one, but you look down, you instantly see you're in 5th manual, so 4th manual if you need it. And if I just slow down a little bit, it'll just change down on its own. So again, it's just very easy. 4th gear, and it's turned, you know, and these cars are forgiving. This car is only set at, it's like just shy of 700 horsepower at the wheels. I think it's like 690, let's say, and it's very, very usable, and it's not highly strong if you don't want it to be. It'll just chug along quite nicely at lower speeds, no worries at all, no hesitation, no, you know, farting around. It just gets the thing done. But if you do want to go, it's, you know, fun starts at 4 sort of thing, and anything after 4,000 RPM, it really does like to go, this thing. So when we come to this intersection, you don't need to stop for this. You can just change it at any time and select your whatever you want your gears to be. So I'll just put it in position 1, which is sort of 1 drive, which is it's very basic. Hopefully you can hear it. Can you hear it change full automatic now? It's already up into 3rd gear, 4th gear, and I'm not touching anything. 5th gear. But it is still, although it's not wired up to the throttle position sensor and fly-by-wire, if I want to go, if I put my foot down at any time, it'll just change down as it just did, and it'll just want to go. So fully automatic, and it's a nice soft change in position 1. So you know, literally not being sexist or anything, you can drop your wife in it or your mother or whatever and just say, look, it's full auto, just put it in position 1 and it'll just do everything that a modern automatic car does. So if we put that in position 2, it'll do the same thing but snappier changes. It'll hold them a bit longer, so it's a bit more of a sporty setting. So it'll just, you know, it'll allow your revs a little bit longer, and when it does change, it'll change them a little bit sharper. So it's still automatic and it's still nice and soft and flexible, and anyone can drive it, but it will change them a little bit quicker. Much like if you've got, you know, any of the modern cars really, I'd imagine any of the modern DCT transmissions, and you just click sports mode and it has the same effect. It'll, you know, sharpen everything up, change points will change, and it'll be a bit more fun to drive. So if I'm going to drive it in manual personally, I'll have it in this position 2. So it's still on automatic. You just need, you know, 2 hands on the wheel, don't need to touch anything else, and it will go up the gears and it'll come down the gears, but a little bit, not aggressive at all, but a little bit sharper, just a little bit quicker. So if I want to drive it in automatic mode, that's what I'll do. But normally I will run it in position 3, which is a manual position. So you do that, what I just showed you before, up the gears no problem, down the gears no problem, but if you forget, it'll just do the down changes automatically. But with this one, you can pick the up changes. So if you want to let it rev out, it won't change gear at all until you pull on the stick, and it will change gear. And it's absolutely beautiful to drive. It loses no revs, nothing, but it's sort of instantly ready to go at any time as well. Like if you want the thing to go, I want a bit of a private road here, low gear, and it's just so quick, up to, you know, 70-80 kilometers an hour. Just click, 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 seamless. Just straight up your gears as fast as you sort of want it to go. It'll go, this car, and that was probably on like a half throttle that we're on there, just giving it a quick push up here, and it's made it, it's completely changed the way that the car drives, and makes use of every ounce of power that the thing delivers as well. You know, if I wanted to make the car better, I have made the car better with what we're doing as drivability. It's for slow driving and for quick driving. Just carried out an engine service on the car, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity if you had a look underneath of what's changed during the transformation of the transmission. So fundamentally it's very, very similar dimension, sort of overall from tail shaft to input. With this spacer in place, you're probably looking at an extra 10 mil. So we've decided that that's okay for the tail shaft and the front shaft to live with. I think there'll be enough movement in there for it to be okay. So stock 34 front shaft, stock 34 tail shaft. Unfortunately, when you're doing it on an R34, the R34 transfer case is not compatible with the ZF8 or 8 HP, whatever people want to call it. And so I sourced a transfer case from an R33 Stagia automatic. So there's two advantages, I think, by having that, is that its natural life would have been, I'm playing the odds a bit here, it would have had a more simple life being an automatic. It lessens the load, there's no shock loading, so not as much power from that motor, because the actual automatic transmissions are only probably good for probably 280, 300 horsepower. I understand, could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. So this transfer case has only had a limited horsepower through it, through its life, and softened with a automatic drive. So I thought it was a good bet. As a third bonus to that is the fact that there's no gear stick input in the top like there normally is, which you'd have to make a blank plate, not the end of the world, but make a blank plate. But in this instance, if you use this one, straight in, no drama, probably a cleaner and better fit. From the underside of it, here's the 8 HP here. It's slightly wider towards the front, so I had to recut. We had to recut this because it was fouling here a little bit. It's in the wrong spot, so we moved that. They take the plastic belly pan off, put a billet aluminium in there. Looks nicer and is stronger, just in case anything hits it. It sort of fits lower down than it might do in the BMW application, for example, to put it in the Skyline. So it's really nice to have that fitted in. Also, we've run the cooler lines from here, from the front, underneath the front diff, to the cooler, which we put up the front, transmission cooler, probably for safety. For me, I'll never race this car or use it really hard, so it's a really nice safety backup. Possibly didn't need it, but it's always nice to have it. One-off cross member, and probably that's about it that you can see from the underside. So fundamentally it looks like it's been upgraded, but it still has that kind of factory look. Let's take him back. Let's take him back now. What I really want to do is, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the transmission in it while we can. If anybody that knows me will testify that my own personal driving style is not. Don't like drag racing so much. So in the fact that I have a lot of mechanical sympathy for these cars, especially GTRs. And I don't like to just launch them hard off the line. So with that in mind, if I wanted to drive this thing like that, what you can do is tune it, because this one's got a Motec, and any good quality ECU you should be able to do this with. You can get the thing really dialed in to what your driving style is. In any of its modes, you can individually set its change point, how quick it changes. But in conjunction with that, you can make the Motec work really well with the transmission. Even though it's not fully integrated, like full integration with this one, particularly because of the throttle position, etc., you can make it, very smart and intuitive. For example, if I'm in second gear normally for pulling away, but if I wanted to put it in first gear, you could pull the pack, because it'll just burn tyres. It's quite low ratio, so it'll just top out really quickly. It'll burn tyres, it'll hit 9,000 RPM just like that. So if you really wanted to use it to its fullest potential, you could probably pull half the power out of this thing in first gear and make it sort of boost at 4, and then make it hit drive at 4 when it's just soft power, but pull maybe 50%, maybe 40% of the power out of the thing to get it hard off the line without it spinning tyres. And then as it hits, you can set the change, but like you could do this in full automatic. Put it in a full automatic, maybe make it change at 6,500 RPM out of first, drop into second, and you're still willing to boost 4,500, 5,000 RPM. And because of the linear way that this car delivers its power, you could drop it into second and then probably dial it up to 70% of its capability until you've got the forward momentum hard without spinning tyres,
and then drop into third for full power, and then you're just driving it on the throttle. So whatever you dare put it through at that point, and you could get away faster. But predominantly this car for me is a road car, and that's what I normally do with it. We might go to happy laps, sort of a gentle around the track, and then a bit of a squirt up the main straight, just to see what she's capable of. Again, I enjoy that, but because it's not standing start business, you're not putting massive load through the drivetrain. And I know these things can take it, but it doesn't make me happy by, abusing the cars in that way. I'm happy to do what it'll do. Just quickly off the line is really good, and nice mid-range, nice street power is great. Pulling off the line, I don't do it very often on the road, and I wouldn't do it on the track. But that being said, the transmission that's in this thing will cop it. You can't have. They've even got a guarantee from the guys that fit it in. Fantastic blokes at 8-Speed. We'll put a link in below, and they will warranty any abuse. But I'm not going to, really make use of that, because it's not the way that I deliver the driving experience of this car. So we've just got one more little go to drive home. So just if you wanted to, if I were to put my foot down here, although we're on a private road, it would spin tyres. It would spin tyres, and as it dropped into second, it is spin tyres again. So I'm just going to go a little bit briskly, just in the first three gears. I won't speed. We've got a corner right up here anyway, just to see, experience the noises it makes, and sort of when it brings power online. So if you could hear that then, I know it was, pushes me back a little bit. But if they clicked into second again, I wasn't under any sort of load, power, speed, whatever. Clicked into second gear, the tyres squeak. Just in that split second when it's just going between its drives in this setting, number 3, it's just got a microsecond where the revs can come up, and then when the transmission grabs again, it'll want to do a squeak. If I go up further in the gears, it'll alter all that, and that's when you can pull some of that out, or you can make that better or softer with your smart use of your ECU. But look, for me, I'm probably not going to adjust anything. I just really like it as it is. It's very forgiving, very user friendly. I like it as it is, and it'll last me a real long time before I need to improve what it's doing now, because it's just lovely. It's just lovely. And also, I just heard it then, I've not lost, which I was scared of. Every time you change the gear on your manual GTR, on this one, close the throttle bodies, and you get your noise from your blow-off valve. Choose what blow-off valve you've got and how that's set. When it's dumping that air, you do get, this one's got fluffs and twitters and goodness knows what. I really liked that about this car. So you don't get it on every change like you used to do. Like rev up and then there'd be the noise, and then rev up, then there'd be the noise. But if you up it a little bit and you're on boost, and then as soon as you come off the throttle, close the throttle bodies, you still get all them gorgeous noises that I really enjoy having GTRs for, or any other boosted car. No discrepancies against everybody else. But it's just turned it into a beautiful thing. It really has. And there's no difference whether you're using the paddles or whether you're using that. They shift at the same speed. You just click a paddle and it's up, down. It's just exactly the same, because it's a switch. Just exactly the same as pulling on the gear. But just for that experience of driving these older cars, this position just suits really nice. Like, it's good to pull the paddles, and if you were racing it or using it, because they do go round with the wheel. If you're using it in a race scenario, they'd be fantastic to pull on and not let your hands off the wheel. But for normal driving, and what I'd like to get out of these things is some feel and feedback, I'd just like to use this. It just makes me feel like it used to do before. So yeah, it's not turned into an old man's GTR or a lazy man's GTR, etc. It's a dead set improvement having this done, and as as far as I can see, it makes it feel like it's got another 50 horsepower, just because it delivers the power so well without falling off the curve. So you're sort of maximising and getting every bit of, you know, experience and power you can from the motor. It's why modern race cars are set up like this. It's the whole reason. I've got zero regrets, and I do think it's probably one of the better upgrades, improvements, driving experience enhancements you can do to a GTR. Well, that's just what I think. So one last thing, I will get some time to have, and it's a time of recording. It's the middle of summer. In fact, it's New Year's Eve today. So nothing's open, nobody's doing anything. People at the shops with their sales, etc. So no racetracks are open, no happy laps, no track days to enjoy. But soon as the things start opening again, Queensland Raceway or Lakeside, wherever it is, we'll get some footage driving it a little bit more in anger, never abusively. That's not my thing, but you know, briskly exploring the revs and what it does at different times. As soon as we get some track time, I will make sure you're included in that.